Business documents, policies and procedures, so important for long-term success. Hey everybody, my name is Jackie Grant and we are talking about the long-term success of your disability business. So it's really exciting when you decide to start a business. And one of the things that I see on social media all the time is, I'm going out as an independent, I'm really excited, what do I need? And then somebody like myself comes along and says, hey, you're going to need to have some documents and policies and procedures. And then, of course, other people come along and say, no, you don't. So let's talk about why they are important and the types of documents, policies, and procedures that are considered best practice for your business as an independent in the disability sector. Now, FYI, if you're a small company, this applies to you as well. Let's get into it. One of the things that is really important, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you will know that I share this all the time, is that your documents, policies, and procedures are the foundation of your business. And these are important for any business. It doesn't matter. You could be making bracelets, and it's really important to have, your policies, your procedures, but what exactly are they? Like, why are they important? It's a really good question. Your policies and procedures are how you deliver your services and what you're going to do should anything go wrong. Now, you're working with people. You're working with people that have certain requirements. They have varying levels of disability. So they have some challenges that they need your assistance with. And your policy and your procedures say how you as a business, which as an independent you are a business, will actually implement and do things. So let's get into that a little bit more. So things like, if you think about the last time you had a job that you were working for someone else and they said, here's our confidentiality policy and procedure, here's our privacy one, here's our code of conduct. And you may or may generally you sign an agreement that you agree, you've read the privacy policy and procedure and you're going to adhere to it. You've read the code of conduct and you're going to adhere to it. 99% of businesses get you to read policies and procedures. And depending on the services, there could be a lot of them. So why are you as an independent, why do you think you might be different? Why do you think you don't require policies and procedures? Is it because it's you and you know how you're going to deliver a service? That's a valid point. You know how you're going to do something, but often you don't necessarily think of all the things that could go wrong. And this is where businesses, especially independents, come unstuck. So, for example, this is a really common one. This is a common question I get all the time. Jackie, my participants lodged a complaint with the Quality and Safeguards, so with the NDIS. There's a complaint. So I've now got to respond to this complaint. And they've asked me about how I adhere to the NDIS Code of Conduct. They've asked me about my complaints process and what I do. And they've asked to see my complaints form and my register. They've asked to see the time frame in which I have got in my policy and procedure on how long it takes me to respond to a complaint and how a person can lodge a complaint. They've also asked me about my incident management system because the participant has mentioned that there was an incident and they want to know what I do about that, my register, my incident forms, my incident investigation. They've also asked me, did I complete a risk assessment and if I have any evidence that of the action that I've taken pertaining to the complaint. I'm just letting that land. That is actually 3 different systems. That's your complaints management. Actually, it's 4. It's probably 5. So your complaints management system. Do you have a complaints feedback form? What is your policy around how a person can lodge a complaint and the time frame in which you will respond? And are there options for that response? So a person might like a phone call or a letter, or you might do a phone call followed up by a letter or an email. What is your process around that? Because you may get asked to show that. And as part of onboarding a participant, you let them know that they can provide feedback to yourself. And if they're not comfortable providing feedback in the the formatting that you have, then how else can they lodge a complaint? Because they have a right to complain to the Australian Consumer Watchdog. They also have a option to complain to the Commission, to the NDIS, the Ombudsman, the parliamentary member, like their advocate. They can lodge complaints in any which way. So having that as part of your policies and procedures is really important. Incident management falls into the NDIS Code of Conduct. It also falls into work health and safety, which as a business owner, you do have obligations to meet to provide a safe work environment for yourself. So how are you going to do that? And you need to have evidence of your processes, which is your policies and procedures, on how you're going to provide a safe work environment for yourself and a safe environment for those that you provide a service to. So my question to you, and have a think about it just for a second, how are you doing that? If you're not completing a risk assessment, and you could be completing multiple risk assessments in a week, then how are you providing a safe environment? I understand that you might automatically be aware of certain behaviours, things like you might walk in and you might assess the surroundings that you're in. You might automatically take it in, oh, there's a step there, so we better use the ramp over here for this. Like, you might already be thinking of that. You might already be thinking, oh, this is really overcrowded today and my person has a meltdown when there's too much stimuli. It's just too much for them. So you might be thinking about that, and you might be thinking, hey, Angela, and you might check in with her. Hey, Angela, are you okay? Because it's really noisy in here today. Are you feeling okay with this noise and everything that's going on? Are you okay? Because what are the early signs that Angela's going to go into a meltdown? Like, have you actually done an assessment of that to know that? Where is it documented that you did that? Because here's the reason why the documentation is so important, is because you might know it really well because you've been working with this person before and you know them so well, and you know that this cafe today, like, it's usually great, but today it's really crazy and it's really busy and too much noise and too much going on upsets Angela and all of that, right? So you know this, you're aware of it. But what if Angela has a meltdown and she gets up and she throws a hot coffee at somebody? Like, I'm just, and someone else gets injured, because it has happened. People have been overwhelmed and they've they've lashed out and somebody's got hurt, or they've got hurt, or they've run off. All of a sudden, they're out the door. And you went, wow, they've never done that before. I didn't even know that happened, because I've only ever seen them in this particular environment. And yes, we come to this cafe and usually it's okay. So you have some strategies in place, but where is all of that? Because now that you have an incident, the same as if you have a complaint, where is your evidence that you actually did do a risk assessment to minimize the chances of that incident occurring? We can't maximum prevent anything. People are unpredictable. Life is unpredictable. Circumstances are unpredictable. But where did you document this risk assessment and think about that worst case scenario of what could happen? So, Angela, if you feel too overwhelmed in a situation, and I'd just love to know this so that I can support you, is that if you've just suddenly had enough, how would I know? Like, what are you going to do and what would you need from me in that scenario? Write it on the risk assessment. Then you create a plan for that scenario. And by documenting that as part of your business practice, you are actually protecting yourself. It could be a case note, completed risk assessment with Angela, and in this risk assessment, Angela meant, like we discussed, when she's had enough, she's just suddenly had enough, what she might do and what she needs from me. This, and this, right? When you don't have this in place, so that's risk management system, incident management system, complaints management system, but also your onboarding system, your privacy and confidentiality. Like, what is your policy around talking to someone else about the person? What is your policy on that? So there's privacy legislation, and confidentiality comes in under that as well. To a degree. With the legislations, one of the things I want you to know about the different legislations, which is actually what we're referring to, is that there's a lot of information interweaved into all of them, right? And there's different levels. Now, so there's this thing called like there is the confidentiality, and then there's medical, like different industries have different levels and compliances that they have to meet, and disability sort of sits in the middle. So often a participant will say, I don't want you writing anything about me, I don't want to complete these forms, I don't want to do a service agreement. What is your business process and response to that? Do you just go, yep, no worries, that's fine, I'm not going to do it? What happens if you don't get paid and the payment integrity team ask you for the evidence that the shifts have occurred? What if the only way you're going to get out of that payment lock is by having those things in place? What if there was an incident and there's been a report made to Work Health and Safety, and now Work Health and Safety are investigating you, and they say, can we see your risk assessments and how you demonstrate, and your policies on how you demonstrate a safe work environment to meet your duty of care to your staff, which is actually you? Like, how are you going to demonstrate that if you don't have these documents and these policies and procedures that you're actually implementing in your business? What if under Australian consumer law there is a investigation/audit? Like, these happen. People lodge complaints to different governing bodies and there's an investigation. And you have no service agreement in place, you have no risk assessments, you have no incident management system, you have no complaints management system, you have no process to, get consent to speak to a third party, and you spoke to a third party about this person and you had no consent form signed for that particular situation. So you breached their privacy by talking about them to a third party. Oh, but I just needed to know, did you have consent? Did they have consent to speak with you? I understand that this can feel like a lot of paperwork. Who is the advocate for the person, if there is one, and what do you do? What do you do if the person discloses violence or abuse? What is your process? What is your policy around that? Do you just go, I'm really sorry to hear that. Sorry that you're going through that. That must be tough. Is that it? Is that all that you do? Your policies and procedures help to protect your business as well, because it talks to the fact that you've thought about, and you have a plan in place for how services are delivered, your responsibilities, the responsibilities of other people in your business, who's responsible for what. They also demonstrate how you can meet the practice standards for providing services to a person with a disability, an NDIS plan. The practice standards are there. There's disability practice standards, and then there's the NDIS practice standards. So you're working with a person who has a disability, and there's multiple legislations around that, such as anti-discrimination and human rights. This is why your policies and procedures for your business are. And you might think, none of this applies to me because I'm an independent. I'm a sole trader. It's just me. I'm not running a company. It's just me delivering the service. But it's still you that is legally responsible as the business owner to ensure that your business, which is you, is meeting those standards. And the dogs are joining in, the neighborhood dogs. So one of the things that I'd love you to think about is what happens if work health and safety come along and say, we'd like to see how you're meeting your wellbeing plan for your business and you're meeting your duty of care to yourself as the staff member, and how you're keeping the person safe, how you're delivering and minimizing the risk of things going wrong. Could you show us how you're doing that? The ATO has requirements as well as part of your business. And people go, oh, yeah, of course, I know about that. So I suggest that you always engage a really good accountant or Henry can be great for sole traders, but also if you're not really sure, speak to an accountant, speak to the ATO. Do you have to pay super? Like, what are your requirements there? Do you have to pay GST? Do you know for sure that you don't? Because a lot of people go, oh, no, it's disability health, you don't have to. But if you don't have a service agreement in place and you earn over $75,000, strong chance you do have to. And just because you're not paying GST once you earn over $75,000, you may still have to register for GST. This is where an accountant comes in. So getting the right advice. Sure, social media can be great, right? But at the end of the day, I get the phone calls. Hey, Jackie, I asked on social media about when my participant hit me, and everybody said, just walk away, don't provide any more services to them. So I did. I stopped my services. I didn't do anything else. Now the NDIS have contacted me because there was a complaint because I walked away, and they've said that I've breached my duty of care and that I'm potentially facing a fine because it breaches the NDIS code of conduct. I went, yeah, that sounds about right. I said, did you do an incident form? No. Do you have a service agreement in place? No. Did you do a risk assessment to know that this may possibly have happened or could have occurred? No. Did you do a intake form or care plan in any shape? Any shape? No. Okay, what do you have? Nothing. I just go and I provide the service. I send the invoice into the plan manager and then I get paid. But this person hit me. And Mum said, yes, that when they do get angry, they can do this. And now NDIS is saying that I may face a fine because I've just walked away. I've withdrawn my services. And I said, did you not transition them out? Did you not give them notice to help, like you would be there until they could find a new provider? Or give them 4 weeks or 3 weeks, something like that. No, because everybody in the Facebook group told me that I didn't have to do that. Okay, you did. The NDIS Code of Conduct is really clear, and there are fines that apply if you're not implementing it, if you're not adhering to the NDIS Code of Conduct as a business a service provider. You are a service provider. So please, your documents, your policies, and your procedures all help safeguard your business. They help to safeguard you. It's like trying to make a recipe. So let's say you're going to make a chocolate mud cake and you've decided you love chocolate mud cake and you're going to make a chocolate mud cake. You used to buy it from the store, but now you've decided that you're going to make it yourself. So you're making this mud cake, but you go, well, I know I need chocolate. I know I need a pan. I probably need butter and flour because I know the basics. But do you know the quantity? And do you know how long to cook it for? And how does it get that rich, soft, light, fluffy texture? Or did you want the dense texture? Like, a chocolate mud cake can be quite dense and a chocolate cake can be light and fluffy. How do you get the one that you want? Like, if you don't have the recipe. And then when you've got the recipe, right? In this case, the recipe represents your policies and procedures and your documents. So when you've got your recipe and it's right here, great, got my recipe. I can read this. This is great. Super excited. I'm going to make mud cake. I love mud cake. Oh, cherries. I want cherries. Oh, I want cream. Okay, we're going to have cream and, oh, I really want a really nice icing. That's what I want. Okay, is this the right recipe for that? No, they're all add-ons, so I'm going to have to work that out. Right. Okay, so now my recipe has expanded because I want all these other things as part of the chocolate mud cake that I love, that I don't want to buy anymore. I actually want to make it myself. Great, we've got a recipe. You need to follow the recipe step by step to get the cake the way it should be made. And then you need to think about what else you're adding on, which could be, you know, that in this particular case, I want the cream and the icing. Yes, love that. That's what I want. Don't want cherries this time. And then another day you might want cherries, or you might want strawberries, or you might want berries, mixed berries. And another day you might want something else, ice cream rather than cream. These are the variations of your participants. So you've got your policies and procedures, but sometimes there's variations that you need to implement, which would be the different forms. So you've got your base recipe, which is your policies and procedures, and then you've got the different forms, the different add-ons that you may need. Oh, this person has an advocate. We need authority to act as an advocate form completed so I can talk to that person. That person has a wheelchair, and therefore then when we go out, we're going to need to think about this. And so those risks are different to the person that can walk. This person absconds if they get upset or triggered, so I'm going to need a different plan for them. So you have your foundation, and this is what your policies and procedures are. They protect you and your business, and then they help protect the person that you're providing the service to. And by having them documented, and I once worked with a lawyer in a job that I had, and he always said to us, because we did a lot of work with complaints management and risks, like when things went wrong, that was a lot of my job, complaints. So when things went wrong, you know, I had to step in and learn and grow and work it through. Anyway, he always said, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. Because you've got to think that by the time a complaint comes to you, it could be 3 to 6 months down the track. And if you have not documented anything, you can't represent yourself properly in court if that was to go to court. You can't answer because you have no evidence. Your policies and procedures are the guide to how you run your business, how you provide your services. This is your business. And there are, unfortunately, fines that apply if you don't meet Australian consumer law, if you don't meet work health and safety, if you don't meet the NDIS code of conduct. If you don't have your documents in place in use, such as a support log, care plans, progress notes, risk assessments, those kind of things, if you don't have those in place, accurate invoicing, and the payment integrity team puts a payment lock on, you may not get paid. So this is why your documents, your policies and procedures are really important for your business. They are so important, and they form the foundation for your business success. So they don't have to be expensive. You can write them yourselves. Now, I will caution you, if you've got somebody you put out, I need a service agreement, I need this, and then someone says, here, I'll just give you mine. I'm going to caution you with that. The reason I caution you with it is, do you know this person? Are they doing it properly? We have taken a lot of time. I used to run a support worker business, right? We were NDIS registered, we went through audits, things like that. I've also studied business compliance. So when it comes to documentation, I have set up a really solid foundation for your documents. They are templated because you have to come in and adapt them to how you deliver the service, how you're going to implement this. Because you might read it and go, no, we don't, I don't do that. That's not how I do that. So change it to how you're going to do it. No two businesses' policies and procedures should look exactly the same because every business is different. And this is where it's really important for you to think about what you do, how you do it. So the big thing with this is that we've set up a base lot. So when you get someone else's policies and procedures, sure, it might be great. You've got somebody's just giving you their policies and procedures and documents. You're going to need to spend the time sitting there and editing them and understanding them. Have they included the legislation in there that these policies and procedures adhere to or are following? This is all relevant and really important information. So I encourage you to take your time. Now we have the bundle set. We've kept the price really reasonable. Sure, you can go to a consulting company. They will do it for you. They'll put your business name in. They will be identical to the other person that came along in most cases. Most cases, they don't change anything but the business name. NDIS are actually, the commission is actually, Quality and Safeguards Commission is actually highly recommending that people develop their own policies and procedures, and that people, if they're applying for NDIS registration, actually complete the form themselves so they understand the different practice standards. The primary ones you're going to be interested in are the NDIS practice standards, but there are disability services practice standards as well. They do overlap, but there's certain practice standards that you may require to meet because you are providing a particular service, such as restrictive practices, high intensity, all those kind of things. They have different practice standards. And as we know, here we are at the end of 2024, moving into 2025, there are revisions of practice standards occurring at the moment. We will know more from March onwards about those. But right now, this is just setting up your business foundation in a positive way. The bare minimum that you require is consent, information and processes, confidentiality and privacy, incident management, risk management, complaints management, your processes around violence and abuse. If you work with children, hand hygiene is really important. Because you want to keep people safe. That's part of work health and safety as well, because you're working with people with different levels of immunity, things like that, also to protect yourself. They're your very basics that you require. Now, the comprehensive bundle that we put together, look, some of it might not apply to you right now, but if you were to go for NDIS registration, some of that you would need to have in there. We've put it together. We've kept the price reasonable. At this moment in time, at the time of recording this, it is $999 plus GST. You can visit our website, Break Free Consultancy, to actually access that. But please take care of your business. You are running a business. And yes, it is just you. But if you're audited by Work Health and Safety, by the group that oversee and implement Australian consumer law, so the ACCC, they might come along and audit you. If NDIS put a payment lock on you, so the payment integrity team locks up and you don't get paid, these are the things that you're going to require. They're just the basics. As part of Work Health and Safety, which is different in every state, the requirements are different in every single state. You do require to have a health and wellbeing plan, even though it is just you. We do those. We work with you for those as well. They're not in the bundles because they're separate. but we do work with you on your health and well-being of your business as well. And you'll see some videos that I talk to about that as well. So I hope this video has helped you with your business setup and the basics, the very basics of what you need for your business setup in disability. All right, reach out to us at Break Free Consultancy. You can book an initial free consult. I will say that our full-on coaching appointments, so I do coaching, they are really valuable. The other thing that you might like to think about is our Connect Empower Soul Business membership. That membership is really reasonable price. It's for 14 months access to it. It's $188, and there's payment plan. You get business tips, tools, and strategies. You get to stay up to date, and you get discounts on our events as well. So that might be something that you think about. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of here. And I hope this video has brought some value to you for your documents, policies, and procedures. As I said, visit our website. We've taken out the guesswork for you. I just can't emphasize the importance and best practice for you and your business and to safeguard and protect you.